You know, you think it was going to be just a nice couple days working, quote unquote, security, you know, dancing a little, smoking some weed on your time off, right? Hanging out, listening to the music. Maybe you meet somebody nice. In the case of Jake. Instead, this nightmare.
Incredible to hear the Twitter space and hear him in there. Hopefully he'll do another one. It was also amazing. I was saying to Rhodey, all of the Clubhouse people that came on that space that we haven't heard in so long.
He said he will do once he will get his strength a bit back. He will do a space also about.
Thanks for the invitation, Abby. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. He was kind of traumatized before, really, I think, from Lebanon. I think his whole, I mean, this is what I heard. I don't really know. I heard, maybe you know, Abby, that his whole youth, all of his buddies were killed in Lebanon with his little unit.
Yes, he was the only survivor from the unit in Lebanon.
But can you believe this? I mean, God
Yes.
has plans for this guy. This is some survivor.
I'm a survivor.
It's he's a very brave man.
I'm a survivor.
But that would come out sometimes in the spaces we were in, the trauma that he had from Lebanon.
Oh, yeah. You know, when he would kick some ass, which is just as normal, you know, guy stuff, whatever, or disagree with me, I would say to him, listen, you gave more than I can ever give. You risked your life for me. You know how they say in Passover with the 4 children, this didn't happen to them. This didn't happen to you. This happened to me. God did this for me personally. So I feel the same way about everybody, and that includes you, Daniel and Rhodey. Go ahead and be embarrassed. You did what you did for me, even though you didn't know me. For every Jew when you serve in the IDF. That's how I feel. That's my feeling about it. And I could never do what you did. I served my time for that. I'm not in that situation. I never will be.
I think when you talk to people that, you know, my father was a Marine in World War II. And when you talk to people that served in the military and were in battle, and and also why they, you know, in the U.S. they enlisted, and why they did, and you know what was just their motivation to fight for liberty and to keep the evil out of the world. It's remarkable to hear the stories, and you just have to say thank you for your service is just something so important that we do, and we really do have to thank them. And it's a certain mindset that can go and do that and volunteer to do it.
Yeah, in Israel they don't do that because everybody.
Yes, I know. It's
In the case of America, it was unthinkable to do. Absolutely unthinkable. You know, you were drafted and that was it. That was part of life. And I said to him today, you know, thank you for living. That's all I could think of. It's so important that we have him, that he shows us that we can get through this. And I said, I'm sorry that you had to pay such a high price. And he said, you know, that he told the other 2 that he was with, or the other 3, this is the price we have to pay. I didn't want to mention this in here. I didn't want to embarrass him because he's very self-effacing, that he was regarded by the others as a leader, that they really looked up to him, and he really helped them get through it. This is what I remember hearing.
There's some other things he said. There's someone recording this room, so I want to be careful what I say. So, I don't know. I'll mention it another time in another room.
Oh, is it the usual person? You could just bounce them out.
I'm not a mod.
Well, tell them. Are we sure he is? I know he always does, but...
Abby, look. Who is the mod here?
Okay.
Okay, so now people are gonna start recording it. How stupid can you be?
And therefore you could mistreat somebody out of compassion. That it is good for you. Now you could say, well, I've had many arguments with my father about this. My father's a really genuine philosopher, man with a very open mind. But he said once, he said, think of any great man who ever came out of a co-educational school. You know, it's the sort of question that you've never thought of, and so you don't have any ready answer. But he was convinced, you see, that in a boy's life, association with women is weakening to the character. And that's why boys are sent away to be in the company of men. Get them out of those womanish ways and make them tough, you see. Now, if you're playing society by that sort of game rule, and you want men to be soldiers, and so they'll be happy with each other with no women around, and you want to be explorers and all that sort of thing, then you will say that kind of education produces good results. But you see, we're living in a world where soldiers are becoming obsolete. They're just becoming a menace and a danger. And we've got to be very careful that we only breed a few of them. Just like bees have these problems of how many of this type of worker and so on to breed. And we have this as a very serious problem. And it's changing rapidly, it's changing so rapidly, that we're in considerable doubt as to what kind of human characters are advantageous to have. You see, there are circumstances in which people who simply conform and cooperate are a damn nuisance. Because
Yeah. Like located where? UK.
England.
See, I've met with a stripper. I've only met like two.
Say hello to Adrian. Adrian, I'm working closely with Adrian for the past 3 years. We're getting dinner. That's right.
Finally, you. Get kicked from every room. It's such a compliment. Such a fucking compliment.
the basic thing then is we're given a choice of roles. And we are encouraged to be consistent in our roles through the novel and through drama and through all kinds of other means, so that people will be controllable, so that they won't be too jumpy. What is it that worries you about somebody who is insane? See, a friend of mine had a patient who, when he came into the outpatient department in the Veterans Hospital every day, would have to sign himself in. And on the roster where you signed yourself in, there was a place for your occupation. But he changed his occupation every day. And one day, when my friend received the card, you know, that he signed as he comes in, he said, "Oh, I see you're the mailman today." He said, "Yep, and I'm married to a mailbag." Well, think of the meanings in that. You know? The trouble with certain schizophrenics is that they've got an association pattern going. They make the most devastating puns.
And he was making the more left comment. It's
I don't see it that way. I mean, I think where I stand is in capitalism, right? I think that's where my general Israeli politics sit, with the 500,000 folks on the street. And also, I recognize that, like,
He kicked me again.
My test is local.
No, not necessarily. No.
I mean, in
because-
Caribbean countries, European countries, Asian countries.
Like no, because like I've traveled through Europe. Like no, you really have to know where to go and where not to go because they're not used to seeing black people in some European countries that they just stare at you and they take pictures of you and they follow you. So it's like no.
Because she's being used and played like Alex Jones sometimes has been to create this hatred. Because if that's the case, and there is an anti-Semitic, I'm now sort of playing out your possible thought process. If there's like a rise in
They've found themselves. Meaning that they have exchanged an impossible game for a possible one. They haven't really found themselves. They haven't gone, or very rarely gone behind the game. So you see, we like a game that teases us. That is comprehensible, but not too comprehensible.